Okay.
As we wrap up our introductions here, go ahead and introduce yourself if you're in a place where you can talk or be off of mute, or if you aren't in danger of waking up the kiddos or the hubby or the wife. Do you have any guys on these calls yet? That's going to be one of my goals at the end of the year here. Some more guys participating regularly.
Hey, it's Esther from Minnesota is here.
Hi, Esther. Welcome to the call.
Thanks.
See if some guys can give you ladies a run for your money. Pun intended with that one. Anybody else want to give me a shout-out before we get going? We still have some people jumping on. No worries. We'll get rocking here. Greetings in Buffalo. Okay, Radiantly You IWG-ers. I don't know if that's a term, but I'm going to coin it tonight. Welcome to our Wednesday training call. My name is Nick Brown with Radiantly You. As I sign off, I will tell you I'm at your service, but the reason for this call is to be of service to you. I'm fired up tonight. If you can't tell, I'm pacing. I've got the whole office cleaned out of toys, so I've got a nice long pace ready to go here. We've got some good material for you tonight. As usual, I'm going to rock and roll and go fast and furious. However, I liked last week how we opened up to some questions and some role play. So if you have a pertinent question to what I'm discussing this evening, or if you'd like me to go in a little bit more depth to what we're talking about, or if you have a specific situation that you'd like to talk through with me about our training topics tonight, please let me know, and I would be happy to cover that live. And if you want to, you can throw me under the bus as long as it's the correct topic. Fair enough? Okay, so we'll see if you can put me on the spot and make me have to work for it. So last week, we talked about recruiting up, we talked about getting your chicken lists out there, and we talked about the concept of it's easier to build fast than to build slow. Tonight, I want to talk again about inviting. We've talked about inviting on a couple of training calls. We did some role-playing last week. I want to make sure that I cover this with the emphasis that it deserves, because inviting is an incredibly crucial skill here. And we have some people in the company that are doing terrific things building that skill set and having some great success with it. So I want to cover that again in a little bit more detail, maybe go into a little bit more subtleties through it. I also want to talk about building your list. I've been speaking with many independent wellness guides that don't say they're at the end of their list, but they think they're at the end of building their list. And so I want to go into a little bit of a training about how to tweak your mindset a little bit, how to get that pen and pencil going again on your existing list. Now, I do remember that last week I asked on the call, is there anybody that truly is willing to say to me, have you reached the end of your list? Have you called everybody you know? And if that's the case, then I have the next challenge for you if you've done that. I experienced that once in my career, and I happened to mention it to my mentor, and I will never mention it again, because that's another skill set. Developing and continuing to develop your warm market is a skill set to learn here. So you're never going to run out of people to talk to. Your list is never going to end. It's an ongoing organizational activity. It's not homework that I give you on Wednesday night and you're finished by Sunday to turn in the term paper. It's not that kind of list. This is your growing capital. It's names in, names out. I don't want to say we're churning through people, but your list is ever evolving, ever growing, and ever moving and changing. So I've even made some suggestions to people earlier this week and last week to modify their existing list and move people off the list for 3 to 6 months so that you don't have that mental brain drip or that brain drain every time you see this person on the list and you know you haven't called them and you have no intention of calling them because you have either some reason that you're justifying not calling them or you know they don't want to be bothered for a while. So I'm going to talk about building our list, and I also want to talk about I talked about this way back in the spring, but I haven't used the phrase lately, probably since our launch. But I want to talk about just do it. I know it's Nike's slogan, and at some point I'm probably going to get sued, but it's terrifically important here in this industry, in practically any industry, in practically any career, even in parenting. Your actions will most likely precede how you feel about what you're doing. It's a little deep for an intro, but I'll go into that a little later. Okay, so those are the 3 topics we're going to be talking about: inviting, building your list, and just do it. I even have a yoga joke later. I'm sure you've all heard it, but I'm going to use it. Okay, so the skill of inviting. on our quick start call, we talk about the skill of edification. The skill of edification and the skill of inviting are very similar. They go hand in hand, especially in the conversations that we teach in our system. And the skill of inviting is one of the top and first skills to learn inside this industry and inside this company. I've mentioned regularly that invitations are separate than presentations. They have very different intentions and they sound very differently. So the skill of inviting, and for you leaders on the call, who are most of you, when you're teaching how to invite, this is separate from giving information about the company or the products or the mission or the passion or who they're going to be hearing from. The invitation is sharing Radiantly You, or the opportunity with Radiantly You, to someone else. It's sharing an invitation to hear more information. That's a much better definition. An invitation is sharing an opportunity to get more information. It's not sharing the information. It's simply asking if they would like more information. This comes right from our Quick Start training call. We ask, can I share it with you? The thing that we're excited about, the company that we just got involved in, the company that's going to allow me to keep my kids home from daycare more, can I share it with you? And they say yes or no. That's an invitation. We also have other events. We're now doing our YBPs, or Radiantly You business presentations across the country, in your local market, in your hometown. So when you call your list, you call your friends, you call the people on your warm market, you talk to them in the supermarket, you're going to be, your first conversation regarding Radiantly You is going to be an invitation to get more information of some sort at some presentation. Could be the Wednesday conference call that we just did. It could be an RYBP. It could be through a phone call. It could be the website, 3-minute and 41-second video. We have more tools that we're working at for you right now, but those are the big four right now. And whatever you feel most comfortable with, by all means, pick one of those and invite your friend, your prospect, your warm market referral to see one of those pieces of information, to see that tool. The purpose of I can't stress this enough, the purpose of the invitation is to ask them if they want to get more information. Okay? And when you're talking with people, when you're making new contacts, this goes into building your list. When you're meeting new people, and when you're adding people to your list, people that you've just met, maybe you picked up a new hobby, maybe you're going to a new class, maybe you went back to school in the fall, maybe you've got a new mommy group, maybe you just had another baby and that exposes you to a new realm or set of friends. When you're introducing yourself to people, the first time you talk with them is not the time to bring up Radiantly You. The first time you talk with people, the best way to build your warm market and to continue to build your list all the time is to look to be helpful to people and to look to become friends with people. Look for people that are interesting to you and be interested in them. It is contrary to what most of us have been taught. If you're interesting, you'll have a lot of friends. That's not the case. If you're interested, many people will be interested in being your friend and liking you and wondering why you know so much about them. I told you the story about me flying all the way from Florida back to Buffalo next to a guy. I know everything about him. I know when he's going to retire. I know what his name is. I know where he lives. I know where his kids go to college. I know everything about him. And I know that he had a great time on that flight, and he knows absolutely squat about me because all I did was ask questions. I was interested. I wasn't interesting. So if you're going to expand your warm market, go for interested instead of interesting. ED, not ING. I'm not going to coin that one. That's a bad joke, but I want to make sure that even through the digital phone here, you're getting the difference between interested and interesting. So when you're at the playground, I just did this tonight watching a soccer game, one of my cousins. There's a dad out there, too, watching this little girl, beautiful blonde curls. Went over and introduced myself to him. We chatted for probably 20 minutes before both of our kids had to fall down the slide. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Before we had the soccer game ended and we left. But I've got his card. I know what he does. And he knows two things about me. He knows my first name, and he knows that my wife runs a business in town. That's it. And we talk for 20 to 25 minutes. But I have his card. I know exactly what he does. I know where he's lived. I know where his family is from. I know his wife's name. I know both his children's name. I know they just had a 6-month-old. I know everything about him, and I have his contact information. That's building your warm market. Now, I have no idea if this gentleman is going to become a friend of mine, but I know that he knows I'm interested in him, and I encourage him to talk. So building your warm market is being interested in people and asking lots of questions. On a side note, that's the same way three-way phone calls go. For you leaders on the line, to do a three-way phone call, you're going to be asking a ton of questions and listening. It's not about presenting the information. This is above the scope of this call, but I want to touch on it real quick because some of you, this is pertinent for. When you're doing a three-way phone call, ask questions and listen. A three-way phone call should be them talking more than half the time. Let me say that again. A three-way phone call should be the prospect, the person who's never heard about Radiantly You, talking more than half the time. So if you're going to do a 10-minute presentation on Radiantly You, its product, its mission, its opportunity, and its compensation plan, if you're going to talk for 10 minutes, you better be sure that they're talking for another 10, probably before you. Because by you asking questions, you're developing rapport with them, number one, and number two, you're finding out if this is a good fit for them before you ask them if this is a good fit for them. You know their personality types, you can determine what their hot buttons are, and you can craft your presentation to the things that they're looking for. Some people have issues with time, some people have issues with money, some people have issues with both. So if they have plenty of money, but they don't have any time in their life, there's no real reason to talk about the money in Radiantly You. What you need to talk about on the three-way phone call is the business building opportunity for residual income and time leverage. There's no real reason to go into the compensation plan too much. They have money. They know how to make money. That's not going to be a motivating factor for them. But if you can show them how to make money without working so much, that's going to be much more interesting. So be interested, not interesting, and ask a bunch of questions. That's how to build your list. Here's the other real quick thing. If you don't have at least 500 names and numbers on a piece of paper for your list, whether you've called people or not, you can still work on your list right now without meeting any new person. Here's how. Grab a memory jogger. It doesn't have to be the one from our resources. Just Google MLM list creator, network marketing memory jogger, how to build a list, or go through the yellow pages in a phone book. If you have one of those, if they've still delivered the actual hard copy, go ahead and flip through the yellow pages section. Otherwise, pull it up online. When you go to A for accountant, the yellow pages are all about professions. It's not about who is your accountant, and it's not about dialing random accountants in the phone book to get new people on your list. Please don't do that. This is not about cold calling. It's about finding someone that triggers a memory in you. So do you know anyone that's an accountant? Do you know anyone who works for an accountant? And the accountants that you've had or know of, do you know anybody that works for them, works with them, or is related to them? Right? Then you go on to B, bakers. Do you know anybody that actually owns a bakery? Do you know anybody that used to work at a bakery? Do you know somebody that knows somebody that works at a bakery? Remember, if you have a sister named Rose and she has a friend named Angie, Angie goes on your list because you know of Angie. You have the common connection of your sister Rose. Even if you haven't really spent any time with Angie or met her, you could easily get her number and you could call her and say, "Hi, Angie, I'm Rose's sister." And Angie says, "Oh, hi, how are you?" That's somebody that should go on your list. Look, remember, this is not prejudging. You can post-judge all you want. So if your sister has some friends that are real losers, we don't have to call them. But I anticipate that's probably not the case. So by all means, I'm giving you homework tonight. If you're on this call, go back to your list, grab a memory jogger, and try to think outside the circles of who just you know. You know of many more people than you're giving yourself credit for. In fact, I spoke with 2 different independent wellness guides over the past week or so, and in probably 30 seconds, I asked 3 questions, and all of those 3 questions resulted in 3 new contacts being added in that particular category, and I picked them out of a hat. Right? You can just say cab drivers. Anybody that's a cab driver, ever driven a cab, ever ridden in a cab? Who would go on the list? Right? So build your list. Your capital in this business and the armor you put on comes from this initial list. So make it nice and strong, and then use our invitation techniques in order to share and sort through the people on your list to see who would like to move forward with Radiantly You. I honestly mean it's as simple as that. It's not easy because you're going to talk yourself out of it a lot. However, we have a couple of people that have been having some significant success with this particular strategy, following our system, and I'd like you to hear from one lady in particular. This young lady, this independent wellness guide, has been with the company and has developed quite a nice team. She understands how to work this business. She has terrific personal power. She has a lot of other things going on in her life too, but she's very committed and interested in our system right now, and because of it, has utilized it to create some great momentum going forward. I think we've got Big Mo in the house, which is awesome. I love to see it. She's among the other independent wellness guys that are really cranking it up this fall, and I'd like you to hear from her. So, Krista Myers, are you with us tonight?
I am, Nick. Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. Do you think you'd be willing to share with us what's happening in your business so far and what you attribute your success to lately?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I have been with the company for a while, and I started, I reached out to Nick and started working one-on-one with him, and this past Monday, I can honestly say that I worked more in 3.5 hours than I have for the entire time that I've worked with Radiantly You, which is amazing, but I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt right now. I've just decided to surrender and just be coachable, something that Nick has told me and everyone else since the get-go. Before I was full of great ideas myself, or so I thought, but none of that was to create my list and call people and invite people to learn more. So finally, I am doing just that, listening to Nick and just, letting him guide me on the right path and using the system correctly. And, this past Monday I called close to 20 people, set up three-way calls right then that night. Nick hopped on for me for each of those, and set up a few more appointments for three-way calls this week. And I also had someone join right on the spot as well, so that was so exciting. So, things are going well, and Big Mo is in the house. The momentum is definitely building. I'm excited again, and, every day I'm kind of doing at least one thing to, get appointments set up and three-way calls set up and all of that kind of fun stuff.
Fantastic, Krista. Can I ask you a couple of follow-up questions from from your share there?
Sure, yeah.
You mentioned you had somebody join on the spot. How long were you on the phone with this person prior to her literally joining Radiantly You? At what level did she join, and what did you say to her?
So for me being on the phone prior to our three-way call?
Yep. How much had you said to her?
Oh, I hadn't said very much to her at all. I didn't actually have my phone call was to share, to invite her to learn more about the company. So I didn't actually share too much about the company. She came into the three-way call not knowing a whole lot.
Has she even seen the video?
She hadn't seen the video.
Hadn't even seen the video. Okay.
She hadn't seen the video. She wasn't able to pull it up on her cell phone. So
had she tried the products before?
She had one little sample of the herbal decongestant.
Fantastic. And how long were we on the phone before she literally joined over the phone?
I think it was, 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
And what kit did she purchase?
The BBB.
Got it. Interesting. So you also mentioned that you had some good ideas in the beginning of your business that you're no longer particularly using now. What part of this system did you change? What part of this system are you currently using? Give somebody some concrete examples of how did this invitation, three-way phone call, and new Independent Wellness Guide team member happen so quickly? What did you do?
Well, I listened to you, Nick. My ideas before were just, I spent so much time making samples, and I had a goal to get samples to every state in the country and spent time doing that and spamming all over Facebook. And, of course, that's not that great to do, and got kicked out of a few groups. And then now I've switched gears, and I'm totally working with the system of inviting people to learn more about the opportunity. Beforehand, I would share everything with them. I would pretty much verbally vomit on people about Radiant Leo. I'd give them every single detail that I thought they needed. So I never really used the three-way calls because, I figured I could do it myself. I'm one of those people, I guess, that I'm learning to kind of step back a bit and not share so much. I'm really just inviting them to learn more and then utilizing my upline, or Nick in this case, to share all the information. And it's fantastic because I literally just introduce Nick to my prospect and my prospect to Nick, and I just sit back and mute out, and they, they talk back and forth, and it's great for me to learn and to grow as a leader as well. So I've learned so much in this past week. I'm so grateful, and things are looking very bright for my future.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing, Krista. I know that your honesty is probably touching a couple of people on the line tonight because of what you were willing to share with us in terms of not doing it the way that our system lays it out from the beginning. So congratulations to you for submitting yourself and humbling yourself to the system. Your success is truly deserved because you are putting in the work. You are putting in the time. You are putting in the effort, and you deserve the rewards from it. I want to make a distinction, though. Krista gave me some credit there, and I don't want it. And I want you to know that I didn't have her share because I wanted her to fluff up my ego. Believe me, I don't need that. I want you to hear her say the system and the things that we teach are what allows this to occur. I happen to know how to do a three-way phone call and give a presentation to someone who's open to the concept. She makes a very good invitation, and she puts me on the phone with people who are interested in the opportunity. Therefore, I finish the conversation and ask them if they'd like to become part of the Radiant Leo family. I'm going to teach you, if you're interested, exactly how to do the three-way phone calls that I do so that you can close anybody that's interested into our business. The best way for me to teach you how to do that is to listen to me do it for you 10, 20, 30 times. Three-way phone calls are another learned skill. I know I'm talking to leaders on this call. I know I'm talking to people on this call that either want to build a team or are currently building a team. These skills, not only can you utilize, but you can perfect, you can continue to practice, and you can teach them to your team members as well. The system is what does the work. These are not my ideas. I just happen to have more practice than you do. So the results that Krista is getting is not a result of me. It's not a result of my presentation. Perhaps I have some more practice at handling some objections and talking people through it, and I might be able to do it a little quicker. But simply because I've done it more than you have is the only difference. This is a learned skill, and we want to teach it to you. We want to make this effective in your organization, and we want to teach you how to teach it. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about inviting is because that's the cornerstone of getting qualified people on the phone with you so that you can do an effective three-way phone call. I still believe that three-way phone calls are very effective and very useful in this industry. So if you can teach your team how to simply use you for three-way phone calls, you can help build their teams by giving good exposures to qualified people. So if you're interested in more information about three-way phone calls, I'm happy to do a training for you. Again, the best way to... I'm sorry? Is that it, me? Is that background? I love those. Okay. So if you're interested in more training about three-way phone calls, by all means, ask me to do one for you. So you can just listen to me. And remember, one three-way phone call is not going to sound like the 12th that I do because people have different personalities, backgrounds, interests, and thoughts about Radiant Leo. In fact, we talked to somebody a couple of days ago that was already in and is currently in, maybe even at a regional director position, another network marketing company and doing quite well. So she's interested in trying our products, but I'm not going to try to take her away from her company. So allowing yourself to listen to qualified three-way phone calls from experts to give yourself the exposure to how those conversations go are important here. So I'm going to wrap up our training with, as I mentioned, Nike's slogan, which I'll get sued for. Just do it. I don't know what I was able to say to Krista to allow to get this through to her. I'm going to throw under the bus just a little bit here. But what Krista needed to do was simply call people and use our system. That's it. You need to reach out and use the system and only the system. She's absolutely right. She was sharing too much with people. What I'm encouraging you to do on this call is if you'd like Big Mo to come and visit you, believe me, there's plenty of momentum to go around. And right now is a great time to catch some because Radiantly You as a company has it. If you invite more people to see a presentation, to come to an RYBP, to have a three-way phone call with an expert, the correct way in our system, Big Mo will come and see you too. This is simply about the numbers, folks. I encourage you to just do it. It's about making a list, identifying a name and a phone number, and call them, present what you're excited about, and let them choose. Let them sort themselves. You don't even have to use the video. Krista said 0 for 3 on Monday night. 0 people to talk with me had seen the video even. So we're just looking for people. You can ask people all the time, hey, you looking to make a little extra money? Hey, are you concerned about the chemicals that are in your household? Hey, are you looking for all natural products? Are you interested in making the world a greater place while making some extra money at the same time? They're easy questions. And just find the people who say yes. The people who say no, they're going to slow you down. Find somebody else. There's plenty of people out there. So just do it. Make a call a day. Spend an hour a day if you can just calling people. So my entire training tonight is how to build your list so you don't run out of names and numbers, how to invite people, and by all means use a tool to help them come into our system and see how the duplication here exists, right? So my joke for you tonight, I continue to say just do it with Nike slogan, right? But I see in a lot of athletic posters and something, don't just sit there, do something, right? I like that one too. But I know you yogis out there say, don't just do something, sit there, right? Or the meditationists out there, don't just do something, sit there. So you can do both of those. Don't just sit there, do something, and don't just do something, sit there. So you can meditate, and then you can work your Radiantly You business at the same time. We'll probably do them back to back. But if you're interested in pursuing Big Mo in your life, in your business, in your fall with Radiantly You 2014, I encourage you to just do it. Get out there, expose some more people to this opportunity. If you need help, you certainly know how to get a hold of myself. I know Melissa has put an awesome little contest out there. You should see her schedule for the next 3 days. It's booked solid. It's crazy. So we're up for working our tails off for you. By all means, put us to work. I appreciate the time you spent with me this evening. Is there anybody out there that has a question or a comment before I close out?
Nick, are you going to have this call recorded and for us to listen to later because I missed the first half?
I did record the call, and I will ask my wife to figure out how to get it available to you. How about that?
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
You got it. Any other questions or comments out there? I appreciate your time tonight very much, folks. I know that there are lots of other things you could be doing. Putting babies back to sleep, sleeping yourself, catching up on the laundry. That's what I'm going to be doing in a second here. So I appreciate it, folks. So with that, I'm going to wrap up our training call tonight. My message tonight is just do it. Train somebody else to do it. In fact, if you want your team to go into production mode, outwork all of them and don't tell them. But when they call you for help, you have plenty of stories. Like I did today. I had a story for you today about meeting somebody new and how I did it, right? Met him at the park. I've got his card. I want you to know that we're currently doing that all the time. This is what being a professional in this industry is. If you want to make a career out of Radiantly You, be the best person, be the best independent wellness guide you can be for your entire team. Set the model, be the leader, have people follow you that way. So with that, I appreciate all your time tonight. Thanks so much for listening in. I'm Nick Brown with Radiantly You, and I'm at your service.